The journey they've been on in terms of dropping from La Liga to the Tercera, how crazy did it seem that this great club has dropped to the third division?
It's crazy because the difference between second division and third division in Spain, internally for a club, it's huge. What we are trying to do is to look at the history of the club in a positive way, not in a nostalgic way.
Massimo Adalberto Benassi, CEO of Deportivo de La Coruña, thank you very much for joining us here in TransferRoom Deal Day in Madrid. Firstly, tell us why you're here and what you're looking for today.
We are here because for us it's really important to get in contact with other clubs, specifically clubs from other countries, not only Spain, because in Spain of course we have contacts and we maintain relations with other clubs of the country, but for us as a club and as a project, it's really important to look at other countries and to be in touch with executives that you normally on the daily life, on the day-to-day, it's really difficult to get in touch with them.
Any countries in particular, or it doesn't really matter?
Any countries, but specifically Portugal, that is really close to Coruña. So for us, strategically, it's important to have clubs where we can develop every kind of synergies between clubs. And we are trying to get some more contact from the Northern Europe, especially from like Norway, Sweden, and these types of country and market that we think that in our second division it could be interesting, an interesting market. Yeah.
And do you try to speak to owners, to CEOs, or to agents, or just all of the above?
We try to connect directly with clubs and owners because we think that can work together better directly, and of course with the agents, but it's, let's say, a second step, a second phase.
Are you looking to try and start and close deals today, or just start to create relationships?
The main goal is to know more clubs and have more contacts. Yeah.
Now there's a bit of pressure, of course, with the history of Deportivo de La Coruña as well. I'm sure the fans remember the amazing side of the 90s and the 2000s as well, where they won the Liga title and were competing in the Champions League as well. How much does that history inspire you? How much can it sometimes be a bit of a hindrance?
It inspires us like constantly, but what we are trying to do is to look at the history of the club in a positive way, not in a nostalgic way. So that's what we are trying to do, and luckily we made it last season. So we made it to second division after 4 difficult seasons in third division, and now the goal is to create a stable project, and of course Deportivo must be in first division sooner or later.
The journey they've been on in terms of dropping from La Liga to the Tercera as well, from the outside looking in, how crazy did it seem when you weren't a part of it, but this great club has dropped to the third division?
It's crazy because the difference between second division and third division in Spain, internally for a club, it's huge, and the structure, the organizational chart of Deportivo, it's something really big. Last season I was saying we are a first division club playing in third division, and we create a slogan that we were saying there's no difference if you are in first division, because the important thing is that you feel that you are a first division club. So for us, it was really difficult, especially because the revenues that the third division league generate are really low, and for a club like Deportivo, it's not sustainable. So luckily we have a really strong ownership that was maintaining the club at a good level. And last summer we decided to invest a lot in human resources because we thought that at the end, if we are a first division club, we have to act like a first division club.
So how do you create that winning culture?
It's a day-to-day winning mentality. We don't think about winning the league. Last season we weren't thinking about winning the league. We won the league, but we were thinking about always the next match. So it was 1 week, after 1 week, we were thinking about winning next match, and that's what brought us to winning the league, and we are not thinking about changing this mentality. Yeah, so from the top and to the bottom, we are thinking this way. Every employee of the club is thinking in this way.
I mean, this is your relationship as well, both up and down. You know, how is your relationship with the owners? You've already spoke very positively, but also with the head coach as well. How important is that relationship?
I think it's fundamental, basically, to have a clear idea and a clear goal of what the ownership wants. But it's not only that, because if you don't have a good communication on a daily basis with the sporting director, with the head coach, and also I would say with the players to make them feel like in a family, because basically for us it's really important to be with them, to make them feel comfortable not only in the sports side but also when they are not playing but they are in the club.
You're in the Segunda, you're one step away from the La Liga. You've already said you don't want to look too far ahead, but what's the aim here? Is it stability, or is it let's go for back-to-back promotion?
I would say both. It's let's go for promotion but with stability. So we won't make or won't do crazy things on the market. We are trying to look at the market in I would say smart way. So trying to look for young players, not super young, but maybe players that they can be with the club for a long time, or if they're not comfortable, or if they are really a step ahead of the club, because we are in second division and they can show they can be in another category, then of course like we have to part ways. But I would say that we approach the market, or we would like to approach the market in a smart way for stability in the long term, because we don't want to be in the situation where we were 4 years ago economically.
And finally as well, you're not only hoping you can get back to La Liga one day, the top division, but also maybe the very top, how the Depor teams were in the past, you know, in terms of league titles, but of course that famous cup win against Real Madrid in the Bernabeu on the 100th birthday of Real Madrid. That seems a long way off, but is that the long-term goal?
It's the dream of everyone at Deportivo. I mean, the difficult part here is to not to lose the focus on the day-to-day, let's say, operation, but to have always that dream in our minds.
Yeah, short and long-term goals for sure.
Exactly.
Massimo, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you very much for talking with me, and good luck in the transfer room at the all day here in Madrid.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.